Do you think this helps or hurts him in the polls?
I'm gonna say, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say it hurts him. I'm gonna say that it helps him. I mean, people are obviously still trying to be careful because you don't want to be against Trump if Trump is gonna come through and sweep, right? Again, you don't want to be that guy that has to what, Lindsey Grahams who have to come back with their tail tucked between their legs.
And Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and all the others.
But like, it's gonna it'll be really, really interesting. I mean, they're already almost like openly at war, right? Like,
well, Trump is definitely openly at war.
It feels like a threat, and like I'm just like, oh, interesting, because
stop being so bad faith. You're swinging. I'm not being bad faith. I'm telling you the reality of the situation. The guy, I'm being really good faith. The bad faith interpretation was that he was threatening them and he's trying to hide it as a joke. I'm giving.
And also, David, here's another key thing. Well, you know that one of the attorneys for former President Trump issued a statement provided to DOJ saying, as far as they knew, all the documents had been provided. The FBI then gets a tip that there were still more documents there at Mar-a-Lago. And then when they did that consequential raid, they found more than 100 classified documents there.
Okay, Pierre Thomas, as soon as you learn more from your sources, Pierre, just raise your hand there and we'll come right back to you. Again, at this hour, we are on the air, ABC News live coverage. Former President Donald Trump has been informed, he and his attorneys have been informed that the special counsel will hand down an indictment in this case after a months-long investigation lasting actually more than a year here into the handling of classified documents discovered at Mar-a-Lago.
After all the Hillary Clinton stuff, how ironic is this?
He's been told to appear in federal court 3 p.m. on Tuesday. We wondered if this would happen, and it has played out. The former president confirming himself that he and his attorneys have been informed. He writes that I have been indicted.
David, a very lengthy post from Donald Trump on his social media platform, Truth Social. It's extremely long. He goes on to say he never thought this was possible, calls it a dark day. But David, I can tell you from my sources that have been around the former president for much of the last week, they very much thought this was possible. They have been huddled in Bedminster, New Jersey, where the former president spends his summers, waiting for this today. They have been anxious. They were watching news coverage yesterday of Trump's former spokesperson, Taylor Budowich, going before that grand jury down in southern Florida. And David, that's a bit of a mystery to the Trump team. You know, they've been watching friends, allies, and now enemies of the former president go before a grand jury in Washington, D.C. that's been hearing the presentations by special counsel Jack Smith for the better part of a year. But only up until the last couple of days, few weeks even, did Team Trump learn about this other grand jury. And we believe, David, as we reported here on your show last night, it was when Team Trump received that target letter in just the last couple of weeks that they were told by special counsel Jack Smith that the former president was indeed a target of that investigation. I am told by my sources that the president for the last couple of days has just been waiting for this, knowing it was coming. He joked to one aide, another one, of course referring to his first indictment in Manhattan earlier this year. And we know that they are already planning a trip down to Miami, David. We are told from one source that they are looking at some sort of a campaign event around it, thinking that another indictment will do something better for Donald Trump's chances at a third bid at the White House.
I want to go back, John, to that one point you made. We reported here on World News Tonight just earlier this week about that letter that Donald Trump received, he and his lawyers. I think to a lot of our viewers, that would sound almost obvious after months and months of reporting on this investigation. But that was essentially their sort of official signal from the special counsel that this could very well be coming, and now it's played out tonight.
The official signal for sure, David. I mean, a target letter from a federal prosecutor lets you know that you are indeed just that. You are a target. We are looking to indict you on charges. But obviously, David, as you know, it's not a surprise. Between the many people that have gone before the grand jury, many people that received document retention letters for subpoenas, and let's not forget, David, federal investigators have been to Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago multiple times. And obviously the big one we all saw nearly a year ago, last August, where federal agents raided Mar-a-Lago looking for documents, looking for records. And as our team has reported, they found hundreds, David.
John Santucci, stick with us here. And again, John, as soon as you learn more, just let me know. We'll come back to you. I want to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, following all of this really every step of the way with us. And Dan, first question for you. When you hear that he's been told to show up Tuesday afternoon in federal court in Miami, in
Wait, what was
Florida,
the point of all this?
What does the venue tell you? What more can we glean from this?
Hold Holy shit, it's the opposed.
We'll come back to John, and we'll come back to Dan Abrams in just a moment as soon as we get the audio figured out there. John Carl also standing by with me. John, our chief Washington correspondent. John, we know the venue will play a major role, but the question I wanted to ask you really is a much bigger picture here. Because I don't want people to grow numb to these headlines that seem to come almost daily. This is something we have not seen before. The first time a former president has been indicted on federal charges. And again, it's the former president himself tonight who says, I have been told that I have been indicted.
David, it's truly an historic moment. Donald Trump, as you mentioned, the first former president of the United States to be indicted on federal charges. This is also the second time a former president has been indicted, period. The first time was also Donald Trump, indicted on local charges. The Manhattan District Attorney
in New York
indicting him on charges related
and the only president to be impeached twice as well, right?
To Stormy Daniels. And we also know that a grand jury is very active in Fulton County, Georgia, looking to bring state charges against Donald Trump related to his efforts to overturn the presidential elections in the state of Georgia. So think about this, David. You have a former president of the United States, currently a candidate for president again, who is now under indictment on local and federal charges, and possibly soon also on state charges. Truly an historic moment, and compounded by the fact that as he campaigns now for the presidency for the third time to get back to the White House, he has made fighting back against these charges the centerpiece of his campaign. His campaign slogan at this point is, I am your retribution. That is his message to his supporters. He tells his supporters that prosecutors are going after him because what they really want to do is go after them. So yes, he is looking, he is battling for his political life here. He may be battling for his freedom. These are serious charges that could mean serious.
Are they serious charges?
But as he is doing it, he is making it
for classified documents,
centerpiece of his presidential campaign.
And in the short term, John, it might help, cultivate support from the core group of supporters who continue to follow him and believe in him.
Maybe then.
At least in the short term, when you hear reports from John earlier, John Santucci and others, that he might hold a rally in Florida right around this Tuesday appearance in federal court. The short term, it might help, but over the long haul, when you talk about an indictment already here in New York City in the hush money case, and now a federal indictment from the special counsel Jack Smith, that is an unanswered question how the American people are going to feel and what they're going to think as they watch this unfold.
Again, I don't think the Justice Department's confirmed it yet. CNN says they had two sources independently confirm it, but the DOJ has not made an announcement yet. You'd think like this one's going to be like a big-ass press conference.
I mean, if NBC is reporting on this, it's probably, or ABC. Or no, yeah, ABC. I mean, I imagine.
Yeah, I think they're all. Well, I mean, he publicly announced it, but I mean, I understand like some people, it looks like on social media, are trying to take it with a grain of salt because the DOJ has not confirmed it yet.
Somebody's got to have sources inside the DOJ or State Department or somebody. I guess we just say the DOJ that would confirm if they're all reporting it, unless they're all just reporting it, accepting. Because it would be a pretty big lay ruse if Trump was like, "No, I was just kidding. Actually, you guys all look retarded now."
Yeah. Yeah, CNN says that two of their sources, I mean, obviously they haven't named him, but two independent sources have confirmed it. So,
yeah, that's what I imagine,
yeah. This is part of the special counsel investigation, one of the two prongs. So they're looking into the classified documents retention, and then he's still working on Trump's involvement with January 6th. So there might be a third indictment. You know what I mean? Like, this might be just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see. It's did you hear about the recording that was released? I'm trying to think if I heard the actual audio of him saying it, where he's saying things like, released. I thought I heard audio of him saying like, yeah, I know I've got those documents there, whatever. Like it seemed like he was admitting that he knew that he had documents there. Did we listen to that recording, or was that just a transcript we read, guys? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, shit, that's news to me, because I haven't heard the recording itself. I've heard that there was reporting of a recording, but when last I checked, the recording itself had not been released. It was just like a paraphrasing of what the source heard.
People are saying there was no recording, so we must have just read it then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my understanding is it's a source in the Department of Justice said that they heard the recording and that this was the gist of it, where he had classified documents and said, man, I'd love to show it to you, but I'd get in trouble if I did. But beyond that, there's also some like additional evidence. So your boy Peter Strzok, you remember from the Mueller report, the guy that the GOP and Rob Noor and everybody hate because he was like biased against Trump during the Mueller investigation. Remember who I'm talking about? So he produced like this tweet where on Trump's last day, Trump issued like an official executive order declassifying the Crossfire Hurricane, which was the original FBI investigation into his relationship with Russia. He officially declassified it, and that was one of the last things he did, and issued that EO with the Federal Register. And so like the argument is that Trump's been saying this whole time he can just declassify shit psychically, but he clearly knew the proper protocol, right? Because he was writing the shit down and saying, okay, I'm putting a signature on it and sending it off to the authorities. So I think that's probably going to screw him too,
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those ones that probably wouldn't hold up in court, but what do I know? That you can just psychically declassify everything in an instant. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure the president has the authority to declassify anything he wants, but I don't think it could just be like, oh, I spoke this declassification into existence.
Yeah, so he's the ultimate declassification authority in the federal government, which, by the way, there's also plenty of legal analysis to indicate that the vice president also shares that de facto legal authority. So technically, it should just be the president himself as the ultimate declassification authority for any classified document. The vice president, under an Obama-era executive order, can declassify anything that he had previously classified.
Okay.
But intelligence officials, because they were trying to pin... Because obviously with Biden's situation, when he was vice president, he had classified documents. And so the debate was, well, Trump could declassify whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted.
Which Biden is true, but probably not psychically.
Right. No, because, well, the question is, like, there has to be some sort of written record of it. Otherwise, how would any, if you have to imagine that the FBI and the Department of Justice, the National Archives, they have simulated this situation before. They've thought about it. What happens if a person who has the authority to declassify a document is caught in possession of classified documents?
Yeah, then you could just say, like, well, actually, I declassified it in the past, and now, yeah.
Right. Do you think this helps or hurts him in the polls?
I'm going to say, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it hurts him. I'm going to say that it helps him with the radical base that he has, but I think he's slowly cutting away his support. So there's going to be before, maybe I would say 65% of the Republican Party supported him. Now, 5 points have been cut away. Now 60% support him, but they support him even more than they did before. That'd be my guess. I think that, and people keep saying, like, Trump, I think Trump is even polling the highest right now. People keep saying Trump's got it, Trump's got it, Trump's got it. But I think it's going to be really hard to factor in how much Trump is going to hurt when the mainstream and alternative media is attacking him, because Fox News, I don't think, is going to have his back. The Daily Wire and a lot of alternative Republican media is not going to have his back. And he's going to start getting hit from, from fucking Pence, his vice president, and everybody. He has, think of it this way. Trump is coming back to campaign again. Does he have a single ally from his prior administration? Barr is out here trashing him constantly. People writing books from inside of his administration. McConnell doesn't like him. Sessions is nobody. He fired how many people through the FBI? The state was who does he have a single person? Is there a single person? His personal lawyers, Giuliani's probably not gonna. I don't even know if he's got any reputation left to give. Yeah,
Giuliani probably wanted to get paid, right? So he's like, fuck this guy.
Cohen, obviously, no, his fucking obviously. Does Trump have anybody? Stone, is Roger Stone going to be there with him again?
Maybe Stone. That's a good one because he pardoned Stone. As far as any other,
is there anybody besides Roger Stone? Yeah, is there anybody from his prior administration that's going to be on his side?
The British guy that with the Gorka, the one that you watched a clip of him the other day. He's going to be back in the ring. He was a original OG Trump era White House employee. He'll be back, but he wasn't like a cabinet level official. Yeah, as far as I know, that's cabinet level official.
That's going to be so rough. He's coming back a completely new person. And what's he gonna say?
Blank slate, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna drain the swamp, bro. You were there for 4 years. You didn't do anything. How could anybody possibly take him seriously coming back to run again? No allies, nothing to show for tax cuts, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if you've seen any of I don't know if this has been independently corroborated, but again, most of the major news agencies was reporting on this. The fact that Mark Meadows, his last chief of staff, was allegedly the final domino in this documents retention indictment, that he made a deal with Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, for his testimony. Now, that again, as far as I know, that's not been like independently corroborated. It's just something that multiple news agencies like ABC, Reuters, they're all reporting on. And so that's your own fucking chief of staff, right? Your second in command, effectively. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I'm interested to see how Trump's rivals in the GOP handle this now, because like Mike Pence has officially announced that he's running for the presidency, and he's walking this weird ass tightrope where, like in his initial announcement video, he didn't address Trump at all. He just attacked Biden and the far left, like, you know, because Biden's a communist. But then I think the only like major PAC that's backing Pence released like a really vicious attack ad against Donald Trump, calling him his least favorite word, which is weak, said it multiple times. But then right after that, he had a CNN town hall, Mike Pence, right after this like vicious attack ad aired. And he was asked, like, look, what do you think about this? You know, the reporting is that the heat is increasing in terms of the documents retention investigation. What do you think of it? And Pence just tried to downplay. He's like, listen, nobody should have had classified documents, but this is really divisive. And I think the Department of Justice is being weaponized, and nobody's above the law. But I think it sends a really bad signal to indict Trump. And the host is like, but even if he's guilty, and even if the DOJ thinks they have a credible case, are you saying that Trump should be above the law? Well, nobody's above the law, but I think that, you know, like, nobody's above the law, but he is. It's so, I don't know. I think that they have an opportunity here to really attack him while he's down. I think DeSantis might actually, for the first time, because DeSantis has been really coy up until now. He's starting to get more aggressive in his responses to Trump too. But I wonder, do you think they'll actually start to pounce on him for this, or do you think they'll, I mean,
people are obviously still trying to be careful, because you don't want to be against Trump if Trump is going to come through and sweep, right? Again, you don't want to be that guy that has to the Lindsey Grahams who have to come back with their tail tucked between their legs.
And Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and all the others.
But like, it's going to like, it'll be really, really interesting after the first debate. That's going to be big moments, because we're going to see Trump getting hit a lot. And Trump before had a huge benefit. People say like, oh, he did it as an outsider, which to some extent he overcame a lot. But I think now, looking at how Trump has conducted himself, that's a benefit to Trump. The less you know about Trump's governance, the better. Now we've seen Trump in action for 4 years, and he sucked. And now he's going to have, obviously Democrats can't attack him on his record because Republicans won't listen to Democrats, but now you can have other Republicans hitting on his record. And god damn, there's just like, it's not even skeletons in the closet. They're just like strewn about on his bedroom floor. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Chris Christie, I don't know if you remember him. He's the Republican governor. I don't care about Christie.
I'm more interested in how Pence will hit him. And
well, so they'll probably be polling at the same amount, but Christie's interesting because he's been attacking Trump right out the gate and Trump's family. He also announced, I think, the same day Pence did, and he did exactly what you just described when he was interviewed. Again, it was like CNN or MSNBC. It wasn't MSNBC. It had to have been like CNN or ABC. And they were like, listen, you backed this guy in 2016 after running against him. Then you backed him again in 2020. What's changed? And he goes through the exact spiel that you just said. He's like, listen, you know, Trump, his justification was Trump was an unknown quantity then, or an unknown variable, even though I think based on his character, it was enough to indict him as a shitty presidential candidate in the first place. But set that aside. He's like, we had 4 years of Trump. He promised to build the wall. He goes, he promised to build the wall. And the quote is, and make Mexico pay for it. And we have seen not a single peso. And he said he only got a quarter of the wall built anyway. He swore he would repeal and replace Obamacare, failed to do that. You know, he said he was going to wipe out the debt, and instead he actually contributed more to it than any single. Like, he just goes through the whole thing. But the GOP, the RNC, is making them make a pledge that if they're going to be in any of the debates, that they have to. One of the commitments they have to make is.
But they're going to back
a loyalty
whoever.
pledge.
Yeah, but isn't that's standard, right? They always do. But the loyalty pledge doesn't mean anything. The loyalty pledge doesn't mean anything to a man that has no intention of being loyal, right?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Trump obviously won't make it. He'll tell him to f off, right? He'll probably.
Or he might even make it, but who cares if he makes it? Trump's not voting for Trump. Will run independent if he thinks he can win. If there's even an inkling that he can win, he'll run independent.
Do you think that? I know you said you're more focused on Pence, but what about DeSantis? Since DeSantis is his clear rival, and this indictment will be taking place, at least the arraignment, it will be in Miami, right? So it'll be in DeSantis's backyard. He may be able to, I don't want to say pull some strings necessarily, but if there's anybody who could put like a public pressure campaign on any sort of federal indictment.
No, it's federal. It's federal. It's a federal indictment. What can he do?
I'm just thinking like, pickets, protests, shit like that. Like DeSantis could, rile people up. It would be stupid to do it, I would think, because it would be basically throwing his support in behind his rival. But he's been so obsequious when it comes to Trump. I don't know. I really don't know how he'll react. He and all the other Republican nominees have been so hesitant to criticize Trump. I don't know.
I don't think what would DeSantis' motivation be for doing anything to help Trump?
To try to, I don't know, I guess to avoid like earning the wrath of the MAGA base. Because listen, when
I mean, they're already almost like openly at war, right? Like,
well, Trump is definitely openly at war with DeSantis. DeSantis is getting increasingly belligerent, but he's still like far behind. He's still, saying I don't punch right. I'm focusing on Joe Biden, not other Republicans. But when Trump was indicted the first time by Alvin Bragg, it was either that or it was when Trump was indicted by Alvin Bragg. There was a question of whether or not Trump would actually have to go to Manhattan, or if he would refuse to go and Manhattan would have to try to come and get him, and whether or not that he would be extradited. And when DeSantis didn't commit one way or another, now this was before he officially announced he was running for president, DeSantis, but MAGA was like tearing into DeSantis left, right, and center. Like, how dare you be disloyal to Donald Trump, and after all that he's done for you. So I don't know. He's trying to court the people who are right now very profoundly loyal to Donald Trump. So Don't you think he has some incentive to like do something?
I mean, a little bit, but like you can't try to win favor with the Trumples by supporting the guy that you're like. It's a fine line to walk, right? Because ultimately he doesn't want them to be Trumples. He wants to convert them to DeSantis fans, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy. I'm glad the Republican Party deserves to collapse in on the way to itself. They gambled. They made a deal with the devil, and now hey, chickens have come home to roost.
Oh yeah, I'm hyped. All right, well, I'm gonna hop off here. I got to talk to Dylan, but yeah, looking forward to this. Are you gonna do you expect that with this development there will be any debates coming up or any sort of engagements? I know you said you had some like red pill stuff down the road, but
I'm doing a debate tomorrow night on whether or not the Democratic Party should hold debates, which they absolutely shouldn't. Do you think they should?
Primary?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I understand it in principle, but I think it's just highly impractical. Now, I can't remember the last time a political party has actually had a debate when the person running is an incumbent president.
Yeah, especially right now when I think it's so important to present like a unified front while the Republican Party tears itself apart. Like if the Democrat, you remember that watching the House vote over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? Like watching that play out with the Democrats providing a unified front, looking like they've got their shit together while the Republicans tear themselves apart, I think is like the best strategy that the Democrats can do. And the idea 100%. of like trying to primary your candidate like on top of all that is just so stupid.
It's super impractical because even with Biden's relatively low, approval rating, it's really a disapproval rating at this point. There's no competition. Like there's no rival that can actually dethrone him. Right? He's definitely going to get the nomination. There's no way anybody would throw away the incumbency advantage, to whatever extent it matters.
Progressives would. So I know.
Well, you know what I mean. Like the DNC is not going to do that.
No, yeah, for sure, and they shouldn't. Yeah.
Right, and so to your point, it's not only it's so impractical because all it's going to do is just lacerate Biden enough. I mean, you remember when he wasn't the incumbent, when he was running in 2020, and all the blows he took from like Kamala Harris and others as well. I mean, that
I
hurt.
was on those buses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I may be back later after this conversation, but anyway, I just want to say that I called it. Yes, I tried to give you hope yesterday, man, and you rejected the hope.
Yeah, and I will continue to do so because Democrats have for a long time like, oh, Trump's going down, oh, Russia investigation, oh, impeachment, oh, blah blah blah, and nothing's happened. So now what I tell people, and I will continue to tell them, is wait for the grand juries to come out, wait for the indictments to come out, like do all that shit. There's no reason to, and you can be just as happy when they do come out, and if they don't, then no love lost. You're fine.
I guess. I'm just, listen, man, I'm just trying to get that heart of yours just like a little bit accelerated, a little bit of joy in it, a little bit of happiness. Because you know what, man? You're a cynic. That's what I say. You're a cynic. You need some of IRI's optimism. You and I were both cynical about the midterms. He was very optimistic. We were wrong. The midterms turned out pretty well. I mean...
Yeah, but like if you're cynical, then things turn out better than expected. Like, I mean, how...
I'm with you.
Yeah, that's
Hope
amazing.
for the best, expect the worst, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, baby. I'll talk to you later.
Have fun. Be careful.
See ya.
Be honest, if Clinton had these files at her office, would she be arrested? I mean, Trump didn't even get arrested yet, but... Remember, the issue comes down to intent or gross negligence, right? For Hillary Clinton, they couldn't prove that she had intentionally moved classified files onto that server. Their claim was that it was an accident, and they couldn't prove intent otherwise. Proving intent on these cases is probably fairly difficult, but if they've got reason to believe that Trump knew that there were classified documents there and he put them in those boxes, like, it's probably also, this is totally just a guess. If you're a federal prosecutor and you want to hop on and let me know, this is totally just a guess, but my guess is going to be it's probably a bit easier to prove intent with classified documents in boxes versus electronic shit too, right? Because like the chance of you moving documents physically from one location to another, it's probably going to be a bit easier to prove that like you were trying to do some fuckery, but they're probably still going to need some evidence of that he said that. I mean, to be fair, Biden had physical documents on his address, but as soon as they found it, Biden turned it in. It was like one piece of paper in a folder. It wasn't boxes and boxes of documents hidden in his basement, so. You have to have airtight evidence to bring an indictment. There's 0% chance they're on a fishing expedition here with their entire reputation. That's what I would think. That's the correct answer. But like, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Because if it's not, if you don't have some real shit, you're like gambling with the future of the country. Trump had instructions for the staff at Mar-a-Lago to move the box to different locations in case of a raid. That's obstruction of justice, no? Could be. But I think somebody said obstruction was one of the charges he's facing down now, right? So listen to the Apollo guy try to pressure / negotiation. Wait.
Hey, I could make it really easy on you. If you think Apollo is costing you $20 million a year, you cut me a check for $10 million and we can both skip off into the sunset. 6 months of use, we're good.
Wait, what? There's got to be more context to this.
That's mostly true.
6 months of use. 6 months of use. So what
no, well, I'm saying if you're saying
you said mostly a joke, but I want to take everything you're saying
Fair
seriously, just to make sure I'm not. What do you?
I'm saying that if Apollo's opportunity cost currently is $20 million at the $7 billion request in the API volume, if that's your yearly opportunity cost for Apollo, cut that in half. Say for 6 months.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. But anyway.
So you cut out right at the end, right? I'm not asking you to repeat yourself for the third time, but you legit cut out right at the end.
No.
If your opportunity cost is $10 million, and then I lost you.
So okay, no, sorry.
One more time.
Yeah, one more time. I was just saying, if the opportunity cost for Apollo is currently $20 million a year, and that's a yearly, apparently ongoing cost to you folks, if you want to rip that Band-Aid off once, and have Apollo quiet down, 6 months. Yeah. Beautiful deal. But again, this was mostly a joke. I'm just saying that if the opportunity cost is that high, and if there's something that would make this easier on you guys, that could happen too. Yeah. But
I don't. Hold on. I could be totally wrong. What is Apollo's negotiating leverage here against Reddit? It's a third-party app. What Reddit doesn't have to do anything. They could shut your whole operation down tomorrow, which it sounds like they kind of are, and you have nothing. I don't even understand what the joke is. Like, pay me $10 million and I'll go away? Like, you're going to go away no matter what. Like, I don't understand what the... he says it's just a joke, but... They could convert to scraping instead of API calls? Bullshit.
I'm just saying, as is, it's quite difficult.
I hear you, and I understand that you're...
Like, as an illustrative example.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's, I don't know what you mean by quiet down, because I find that to be...
No, sorry, I didn't mean that.
I'm going to be very straightforward with you, too. It feels like a threat, and like, I'm just like, oh, interesting.
I don't understand I don't want to talk shit or whatever. And my big business signing deal experience is obviously somewhat limited. But you're negotiating across the table from somebody who's probably quite adversarial towards you. I don't know why you would make a joke like that. No offense, but you sound retarded. You're negotiating with a big company. There's a lot of money on the line. Why? I don't know why you would even make that joke. He might have just been joking, but holy shit, how fucking retarded do you have to be to think that Like that's, especially when Reddit probably has a bunch of people breathing down their neck right now. They're probably picking up a lot of bad heat and PR for this. There's a lot of friction they're going through. And now you've got, what is Apollo, the largest Reddit app? One of the largest apps saying that like, oh, well, I'll be quiet if you, like, bro, are you retarded?
Interesting, because...
Can you explain the drama for us retards in chat? Okay, really quick. Okay, here, really quick, okay? This is probably gonna be wrong, and I hope engineers get mad at me, okay? Really quick, you got a back end to a website, okay? Database. When you access a website, you access something called the front end, okay? Basically, every time you make a call to this website, there's some code that happens. It pulls some shit out from a database, and then it displays it so you, the user, can read this. Wow, cool. Imagine you wanted to make an app that changed the way, we'll say an app that changed the way the interface looked for you, okay? An app that changed this. Well, there are two ways you can do it. You can either do it in a really nasty, ugly, hacky way, where you access this front end, and then you pull a whole bunch of information from that front end, and then you kind of make your own new front end. But there's a variety of reasons why this is not like a good way to do things. We'll say probably one of the larger reasons is that this is going to be very, very, very resource intensive for the people running the website. I don't want somebody loading 1 million times onto my site to pull and data off in the most sloppy manner possible to recreate a new front end. And depending on how you're pulling this information, every single time these guys make a change to their front end, your entire program might break, right? Let's say that they change the way they order threads. Let's say that they change the font, they change whatever. It might break your program, right? So there's something that has been created to make the universe easier called API, okay? Application fucking pussy interface or some bullshit, okay? What this does is, okay, well, in a very, very neat manner, we're basically gonna give you the keys to a few rooms in our database, okay? We're gonna let you come in here and we're gonna let you pull info directly from our database, the structure of which will likely not change very much over time, if at all. You can pull this information out in an organized, easy manner that is a lower resource hit for us, and it's very clean and easy for you, and then you can build whatever you want, okay? Now, it seems like for quite a while, most people seem to provide API access for either very cheap or for free. A lot of companies have standard APIs. I'm pretty sure we have some for my own website where people can pull information out of a database. It's like, okay, cool. Thank you for this. Well, the problem is there's a couple problems. I'll point out two maybe large ones for Apollo. One is that these API calls still cost some amount of server resources and some amount of bandwidth resources, okay? So one, there is still a hit that the company here has to pay for these API calls, number one. Number two, well, this kind of goes along with number one. There's a cost associated with that, so they're paying for these API calls. Number three, some of these API calls might be going to new interfaces that aren't showing advertisements. So now they're taking this, they're rebuilding a front end in a new application using the database access they have, and then they're cutting Reddit out of any money. And then four, these apps themselves might be charging money, right? So now you're in a very weird world where, okay, well, this is strange. You've basically, I'm giving you keys to my database to build a program. You've built a program that usurps my front end, usurps my advertisement revenue. You're making your own money on it, and you're charging for it. I'm getting like fucked 7 different ways, right? That's like the issue that's happening. So now a bunch of companies following Twitter, I think Imager, I think a couple other people, basically the issue people are having is companies like, okay, well, hold up, okay? Hold up. If you want access to this database, there's probably going to be some new terms and conditions, and we're going to charge you, okay? It's going to cost money. No more 15 million requests every month for free. If we're going to have to process all of your requests, there's going to be new limitations, and you guys are going to start paying for the access. And that's where people are getting really, really, really upset. I personally think it's fair to charge. The only issue is how much are you charging? Some people are arguing that Reddit's charges are way too much. It might be, I don't know. Reddit has made, one of the arguments that I've seen floated on Reddit's behalf is you only think that the API calls are too expensive because your program is dog shit and it's making way more API calls than it needs to. You could easily slash these by 60%. I saw some people saying that it's making 3 times as many API calls as it needs to. Other people saying it's not fair to compare Apollo to other apps, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the actual answer is. I'm not a software developer. But Okay, that being said, are people mad because the Reddit product is dog shit? People are mad because they're going to lose an app. Most people have no idea what an API even is. Most people don't know anything about this. Most people don't know if it's right or wrong. Most people have no idea what any of this means or has anything to do with it all. So, with that context in mind, the creators of Apollo have basically come out and they've said with Reddit's new pricing algorithm, it's going to cost us $20 million per year at current usage. Reddit wants to charge 24 cents for every 1,000 API calls. The Apollo guy went and he inputted how many API calls the app is making, and then with current user usage and everything, it would cost about $2 million a month in API calls they make. I think some people are mad because the Reddit app is dog shit, so they use other apps. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I've used Reddit app my whole life. It works fine for me, but... Okay, well, we were listening to this. Okay, sorry. Before we got interrupted, we got that whole background on APIs and all that shit. Now, Apollo talking to Spez from Reddit, I guess?
Hey, I could make it really easy on you. If you think Apollo is costing you $20 million a year, you cut me a check for $10 million and we can both skip off into the sunset. 6 months of use, we're good. That's mostly a joke.
6 months of use. 6 months of use. So
I'm saying if you're saying
you said mostly a joke, but I want to take everything you're saying seriously, just to make sure I'm not. What do you?
I'm saying that if Apollo's opportunity cost currently is $20 million at the $7 billion requests in the API volume, if that's your yearly opportunity cost for Apollo, cut that in half, say for 6 months.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. But anyway.
So you cut out right at the end, right? And I'm not asking you to repeat yourself right there. Have you legit cut out right at the end?
No.
If your opportunity cost is $10 million, and then
the guy, he thinks he's being serious, and now let me retell my cringeous, wildly inappropriate joke for the third time.
I lost you. So
okay, no, sorry.
One more time.
Yeah, one more time. I was just saying, if the opportunity cost for Apollo is currently $20 million a year, and that's a yearly, apparently ongoing cost to you folks. If you want to rip that Band-Aid off once and have Apollo quiet down,
down.
6 months.
Yeah.
Beautiful deal. But again, this was mostly a joke. I'm just saying that if the opportunity cost is that high, and if there's something that would make this easier on you guys, that could happen too. Yeah. But I'm just saying, as is, it's quite difficult.
I hear you, and I understand that you're
like as an illustrative example.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's, I don't know what you mean by quiet down, because I find that to be.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
I'm going to be very straightforward with you too. It feels like a threat, and I'm just like, oh, interesting, because one of the things that we're trying to do is to say, hey, you have been using our APIs free of cost for many, many years, and we have absolutely sanctioned that you have not broken any rules, and now we're changing our perspective for what we are telling you, and I know you disagree with it, that hey, we want to operate on a thing that is financially footing, and so hopefully you mean something completely different from what I said. But when you say go quietly, I just want to
how did you take that? Sorry, could you elaborate?
Oh, because you were like, hey, if you want this to go away,
I said if you want Apollo to go quiet, in terms, I would say it's quite loud in terms of its API usage.
Okay,
is that? I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh, dude. Maybe devs talk like that. Do you have something that's loud in API usage and quiet in API usage? I've never heard that terminology before, but I'm not a dev, so maybe I don't know. Maybe that's a thing that people say. I don't know.
It's a very
sorry. That's a complete misinterpretation.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
I apologize immediately.
No, it's all good.
Stop being so bad faith. I'm not being bad faith. I'm telling you the reality of the situation. The guy, I'm being really good faith. The bad faith interpretation was that he was threatening them and he's trying to hide it as a joke. I'm giving you the best faith interpretation that the guy's just an autistic spurg. That's probably the best. He thought he was telling a joke that was kind of funny, but it totally is probably not funny given Reddit's public position right now and everything, and the fact that Apollo is one of the largest third-party apps. It's probably not. It's not really funny at all to be making this type of joke right here. That's being charitable. Is that he was trying to make a joke and he was hyper autistic about it.
Because what we're hearing in some conversations is folks are like in other making threats, and you're just like, hey, that's not a conversation that we want to have. So I immediately apologize.
No, it's all good. I'm sorry if it sounded like that.
Are you ignoring how dense the fake middle management language is? Wait, what part of this is fake dense middle management language?
Asking you to repeat it because I thought I misheard it.
No. I just meant, I'm a noisy API user. But
Great.
No, like I said, I want this to be constructive as much as possible, and that would be the opposite.
Fantastic. Okay, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you very much. I'm here. Please email at any time, and look forward to continuing to chat.
Yeah, likewise. Just shoot me an email as well if you folks want to talk. I'm here.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Good luck with any additional calls. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Wow, Step Ace, thanks for the 16-viewer host. Who released the call? My guess would be the Apollo guy, but I don't know. If it cost Reddit $20 million to serve Apollo's API request, then wouldn't Reddit save money by Apollo ceasing to exist for $10 million one time? It probably doesn't cost them $20 million to serve the request. That's probably not true. Whatever you charge, you're probably not going to charge just the raw cost. You're probably charging a bit of overhead and profit as well, right? So the actual cost to Reddit is probably significantly lower than $20 million. I don't know what the actual cost is, but... His point is that API costs are retarded. That can be fine. And again, well, so here's my problem. I'm looking at this like a business owner, but I don't have any experience here. I think you guys are just looking at this like retard devs, okay, that are actual apes when it comes to negotiating anything because you've never negotiated anything in your life, okay? That's how I'm looking at it as somebody from outside the industry, but somebody who's at least negotiated a couple things before. What I don't understand is Apollo has zero leverage. Am I wrong on that? Apollo doesn't bring new users to the platform. It's not a revenue channel for Reddit. It doesn't help. It doesn't do anything good for Reddit. All it does is consume resources. So if you are literally sitting there as a leech, consuming resources, subverting advertisements, and charging money for your program, how the f do you go to Reddit and be like, okay, well, if I'm charging you so much money, why don't you just pay me? Why don't Reddit will just say like, no, how about we just shut you down? Because we're fully within our right to do that. There's literally all you can do about it, right? Like, wow, Sognick, thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. The leverage is theoretically the Apollo users will stop using Reddit. Never gonna happen. Usually sites would assign users their own API keys and you would plug the API key into the app and then the individual API keys would be rate limited. Okay. Apollo has been the only way for mods to mod subreddits on the go for the last decade. I don't even know what that means. You can mod from the mobile app. Maybe there are more mod tools on the Apollo app. The official might be sure. I've mod just fine on the mobile. Dude, I've banned thousands of users on the go. I like how I queued in and I'm just sitting here taking your guys' queue space.